This segment of Delmarva Life is brought to you by Delaware Electric Cooperative.
A Kent County man is working to keep a centuries-old tradition alive.
He is creating wood masterpieces using a genre of woodworking developed during the medieval times. Now, as Delaware Electric Cooperative Jeremy Tucker shares with us, the man's passion for woodworking results in some really interesting pieces.
Have you ever played a cricket or blown into a wooden whistle? Well, Rick Schumann of Hartley can answer yes to that question. He also created those pieces using a centuries-old technique called wood turning.
It is a definite challenge to your skill level, and it has a lot of historical value, which those are two things that I like, is working with my hands, and I'm kind of a history buff.
Schumann's process starts with a chunk of wood with the bark still attached. He strips the bark off the wood with a hatchet. Next, he shapes the wood into a more workable object, rounding off the edges, and he only uses freshly cut wood.
The green wood is softer, it cuts better. You can actually use sharper tools with green wood.
The next step in this physically demanding process is to place the wood on what's called a spring pole lathe, which was developed during medieval times. A rope is tied around the piece of wood. Rick places pressure on the foot pedal, which spins the wood, allowing him to carve and mold the wood into whatever he wants. Today, it's a rolling pin, and no power tools or electric are used.
This is more relaxing. There's no noise other than what I make with the tools I'm using and the birds that are singing out here.
Schumann built the lathe himself and has built many of his own tools to help him pursue his passion for wood turning. This box is full of his creations. He even makes what are called hobo flowers.
It's very involved. It takes a lot of focus. It takes a good deal of effort.
This nearly forgotten craft isn't all that lucrative. Still, Rick loves using his hands to create unique pieces and loves showing people what he does.
That's the fun part, and people come in and it just amazes people. The whole concept is just, I get a lot of people that say, I've never seen anything like that before. I said, well, you need to get out more.
So with the push of a pedal and the scraping of wood, Schumann completes another piece using his old yet proven method of woodworking. His simple workshop is, as he calls it, a living museum, where he toils away preserving a form of woodworking that has almost disappeared.
You can learn more about this Kent County woodworker once Delaware Living magazine hits mailboxes in late July and early August. The magazine is being published by Delaware Electric Cooperative and will include interesting stories about the first state, along with news about the co-op. Members of the co-op will receive the magazine in just a few weeks.
Oh, fascinating.
Very cool.
Well, still to come on Delmarva Life, there's nothing like getting out into the great outdoors in the summer, especially if you like to camp. I know I do. From protecting your tent to making sure you get a good night's sleep, we have tips on how to make sure your camping trip is a safe and fun one.
A little bit later on, we speak with professional football player Tony Gonzalez. He weighs in on player conduct in light of the recent troubles many professional athletes have gotten themselves into off the field. And while you're camping, it can be easy to get a few battle wounds. If you happen to cut yourself, Dr. Oz has a few tips on how to treat it.
If you cut yourself, would you know how to treat the wound? Here's some tips so you won't get a nasty infection. First, rinse the cut under running water. Don't use soap, which irritates, or hydrogen peroxide, which doesn't clean the wounds that well. Apply pressure with a clean towel for at least 10 minutes. If the cut's still bleeding profusely, see a doctor. Otherwise, apply antibacterial cream and bandage it up. And then choose a liquid Band-Aid if the wound is near a joint or on your hands.